Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are really getting into something that causes, well, a lot of stress for English learners, the future.
It does sound a bit strange, doesn't it? Talking about the future seems like it should be straightforward, but English gives us these three main ways uh, will be going to and the present continuous
And they get mixed up all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they overlap, sometimes they definitely don't, and it's tricky.
We actually had a listener reach out, kind of summing it all up. He said something like, the future is the hardest part. I just don't know when to use will or be going to or the present continuous. It's awful.
And it is awful,
Hmm.
because getting it wrong isn't just like a small grammar mistake.
Right.
It can actually change what you mean. You might sound like you just decided something when actually you planned it ages ago.
Hmm.
Or the other way around. It creates this real worry about being misunderstood.
Exactly. And that's what we want to untangle today. Forget thinking they're interchangeable. We need to see them as, I guess, specialized tools for different jobs.
That's a good way to put it.
So we're going to focus on three main things, three questions you need to ask yourself. First, is it a fact or a prediction I'm talking about?
Hmm?
Second, is it more like a plan, an intention, or is it a solid arrangement?
Right.
And third, maybe the most crucial one, when did I actually make this decision? Just now or earlier?
And to make all this stick, we've got a bit of a story. It involves a rather skeptical guy named Jay and a fortune teller, Madame Victoire, whose prices are, well, let's just say steep.
Okay, intriguing. So we'll see these future forms playing out in this slightly dramatic scenario.
Exactly. See them in action, see why the context really forces you to choose one over the others.
All right, let's dive in. First stop, facts and predictions. Madame Victoire's territory. Okay, so Jay walks into this, mysterious tent. Madame Victoire wants $300 for three predictions. Jay's thinking, 300? Really?
Yeah, a bit pricey. So, to kind of justify it, Victoire makes this big guarantee. And right away, she uses our first form, will. She says something like, it won't cost you a penny, but I'm never wrong.
Ah, it won't cost you. That strong, definite statement.
Exactly. That's prime territory for will. We use it for, general facts about the future, the sun will rise tomorrow, or for these kinds of confident general predictions or promises,
Mhm.
like her guarantee.
And grammatically, will is a modal verb, right? So the negative is won't, which is short for will not.
Precisely. And this is super important for sounding natural. We almost always contract it in speech. It'll.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah,
Because if you're listening for the full word will, you might just miss it completely when someone speaks quickly.
definitely. If she says, tomorrow will be sunny, it's clear.
Yeah.
But she's much more likely to say, it'll be sunny tomorrow. That'll sound as tiny.
You really have to tune your ear for it.
You do. But okay, will covers general certainty, general predictions,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work for everything. We also need to be going to.
Which in conversation almost always becomes.
Gonna, yeah, I'm going to, you're gonna, it's going to.
Yeah, right. So here's the confusing part you mentioned earlier. Sometimes they seem interchangeable.
They often do, especially for general predictions. If Victoire just says, the economy will improve next year, or the economy is going to improve next year, honestly, both sound fine. There's not much difference in meaning there.
So why not just stick with will? Lots of learners do that.
They do, but it can make your English sound a bit stiff or unnatural, especially because there's one situation where will is just plain wrong, and that's the key distinction.
Okay, what's that?
It's what we call the evidence rule. If you're making a prediction based on something you can see or sense right now, tangible evidence pointing to a future result, you have to use be going to.
Ah, okay. So will doesn't work if there's present proof.
It sounds really odd,
Yeah.
detached, like you're ignoring the evidence in front of you. Let's look at Victoire again. She looks out of her tent, maybe sees the sky, and says, I see black clouds. It's going to rain tomorrow.
Because the black clouds are the evidence right now.
Exactly. She's observing the present situation, the clouds, to predict the immediate future, the rain. It's cause and effect right there. If she said, it'll rain tomorrow, it sounds like just a random guess ignoring the obvious signs. Going to connects the prediction directly to the visible evidence.
That makes sense. It's like if I'm looking at a pot on the stove and the water is bubbling furiously, I'd say, it's going to boil over.
No.
It will boil over. Perfect example. The bubbling is your evidence. Or think about traffic. If you see a huge line of cars ahead, you'd say, oh no, we're going to be late. based on the evidence of the jam. Saying we will be late sounds less connected to the immediate problem.
Right, and later in the story, Jay uses this too, doesn't he? When he's sizing her up.
He does. He looks at the apparently dirty crystal ball, her cagey answers, and he thinks to himself, I don't trust her. I'm going to have a problem with this fortune teller.
He uses gonna because his prediction isn't just a random feeling. No, it's based on the evidence he's seeing the dirty ball, her attitude. That's the proof leading him to predict trouble.
So going to predictions implies I have evidence right now. Will is more like this is my general belief or a promise.
That's the core of it. And understanding that nuance makes a huge difference in how your predictions land.
Okay, quick challenge though. You said will and going to can overlap for general predictions, like that financial analyst example. If they say that stock will crash eventually, that's a general belief.
Right.
Could they also say that stock is going to crash eventually? What would that imply differently?
Great question. It highlights the subtle shift. If the analyst says it will crash, it sounds like a general, maybe long-term prediction based on their overall understanding of the market. It's a bit detached.
Okay.
But if they switch to, it is going to crash, that feels more immediate. It implies they've just seen something specific, like maybe a really bad earnings report just came out or there's news of a big investigation.
So the going to version suggests there's fresh, specific evidence driving that prediction now.
Exactly. It makes the crash feel more certain, more imminent, because it's linked to something happening in the present. Will allows for a bit more distance, maybe less certainty about when.
So going to feels closer, more tied to the now. That's a really useful distinction.
Okay, so moving on from just predicting things, what about things we actually plan to do, things we control? This is where the present continuous pops up for future use.
Right. The form we usually use for things happening now, like I'm talking, using it for the future can seem weird at first.
It does, until you get why. When you use the present continuous, subject plus be plus verbing with a future time word like tomorrow or next Friday, it signals that a plan is fixed. It's arranged. It's like the process for that future event is already in motion now.
It implies certainty, like it's already in the diary.
Exactly. It's perfect for definite plans, solid arrangements. Like in this story, Jay gets asked about his interview tomorrow. How are you getting there?
And he replies, I'm walking. Present continuous.
Yep. And that I'm walking tells us it's a settled decision. It's not just an idea. It's his firm plan.
Okay, but couldn't he also say, I am going to walk? That sounds okay too.
It does sound okay. This is another area where be going to and the present continuous can overlap when talking about plans. So we need to tease out the subtle differences when one feels, a bit more natural than the other.
Right, let's break that down.
Okay, think of it like this. Be going to is often stronger for expressing intentions. Things you have decided to do, your personal plans, your goals, it comes from inside you.
Like, I'm going to clean the garage this weekend. My intention? Maybe nobody else is involved yet.
Perfect. That's an internal commitment. Now, the present continuous, that tends to be preferred for arrangements, especially things involving other people, schedules, bookings, appointments.
So when it's not just in my head, but involves coordinating with the outside world.
Kind of, yeah. If there's a ticket, a meeting time agreed with someone else, a reservation, the present continuous emphasizes that it's locked into a schedule. It feels a bit more formal, more confirmed.
Can you give us a really clear contrast?
Sure. Let's say you're thinking about a holiday. You might say to your friend, I'm going to go to Italy next year. That's your intention, right? You've decided it internally.
Okay.
But once you've actually booked the flights and hotel, you'd more likely say, I'm flying to Rome in June, or we're staying near the Colosseum. See the shift.
Yeah. I'm flying sounds much more concrete than I'm going to go. It implies the tickets are bought, it's happening.
Exactly. The present continuous reflects that the arrangement is made, it's on the calendar, it involves the airline's schedule, the hotel's booking system. It signals a higher level of fixedness.
So while I'm going to fly isn't wrong, I'm flying feels more definite for that booked trip. Same for, like, I'm meeting Sarah for lunch tomorrow. Implies you've both agreed on it.
Precisely. Doctor's appointments, job interviews, booked train journeys. Present continuous is often the smoothest choice to show it's arranged.
Okay, got it. Now, what about that special case you mentioned? The go exception.
Yes.
Okay.
This one's purely about avoiding sounding awkward. It's stylistic, really. If the main verb you want to use is go, we almost always choose the present continuous instead of be going to.
Why? Just because going to go sounds Clunky.
Yeah, exactly. Say it. I'm going to go to the shops. It's grammatically fine, but it just feels repetitive and a bit unnatural to a native speaker's ear.
We just don't say going to go very often.
We instinctively avoid it. So instead, we use the present continuous for movement plans. I'm going on foot, like Jay said. Or I'm going to the shops later. We're going home now.
So if the action is literally going somewhere, default to present continuous with a future time marker.
Pretty much, yeah. If you're talking about a future trip, we're going to the coast next weekend, not usually we're gonna go. Mastering that little switch makes your English sound much more natural and fluent. All right, this next part is fascinating, I think. It's how the choice between will and going to can actually signal when you made the decision.
Ah, the timing thing. This feels really key. It's not just what you're going to do, but when the idea became a commitment.
Exactly. And learners often miss this, leading to confusion. The rule is pretty clear-cut. If the decision is spontaneous, meaning you decide at the moment you are speaking, you use will.
So will marks the instant commitment.
Yes. Before you spoke, it wasn't a definite plan. The word will signals, okay, I'm committing to this now.
We see this when Jay finally decides to pay Madame Victoire, right? After her guarantee.
We do. He's been skeptical, listening to her pitch, and then right there, he decides. He says, okay, I'll do it.
That "I'll do it" tells us he hadn't planned to beforehand. The decision happened in that moment.
Precisely. If he'd walked in already determined to buy the predictions, he would have thought, or maybe even said, okay, I'm going to do it. Using going to would show it was a pre-existing plan. Will shows it's spontaneous.
And this gets even clearer later, doesn't it? When things get heated.
Oh, yeah. When Jay realizes he's likely been scammed, he gets angry and makes an instant threat. I'll call the police.
Spontaneous decision, born out of anger right then.
Exactly. And that threat forces Madame Victoire to make her own spontaneous decision to try and salvage the situation. She immediately backtracks and says, oh no, all right, I'll give you another one.
I'll give you another one. Again, a decision made right there on the spot, under pressure. She hadn't planned to give him another prediction before he threatened her.
Correct. Her use of will shows it's a reactive, immediate commitment she just made.
What if she'd said, I'm going to give you another one? How would that have sounded?
It would sound really weird, wouldn't it? Almost calculating. It would imply she'd already decided to offer another one before his threat, which undermines the whole drama of the moment.
Yeah.
Will perfectly captures that, okay, you win, I'll do this now, feeling.
Right. So, will for the spontaneous stuff. What about decisions made before the moment of speaking?
Okay, so if the decision was made earlier yesterday, last week, even 5 minutes ago, it's no longer spontaneous. It's now a plan or an intention. And for those, we go back to be going to or the present continuous. Definitely not will.
So, using will for a plan you already made sounds wrong.
It sounds very unnatural. It implies you just thought of it. Look at Jay's walking plan again. He says, I'm not taking the highway, I'm going on foot.
He uses present continuous there.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yes, because the decision to walk wasn't made as he was speaking. It was already his plan. He could also have said, I'm going to go on foot. Though, as we said, I'm going sounds better. But saying, I will go on foot would sound strange, like he just decided in that second.
Okay, so there's a clear timeline logic here. The moment of decision itself, will. A decision made before now, which is now a plan, going to or present continuous.
That's it. Nailing that distinction between the instant commitment, will, and the reported plan, going to present continuous, is probably the single biggest step towards using these forms naturally. It stops you sounding like all your plans are just impulsive ideas.
Understanding that timing element, will for now, going to present continuous for before now, that feels like a real breakthrough.
Right, we've covered quite a bit there. Let's try and pull it all together, like Jay demanding clarity from Madame Victoire. We need a simple mental checklist.
Okay, let's recap. 3 main situations, 3 choices. Situation 1, facts and predictions. Here we're choosing between will and going to. Use will for general statements, promises, beliefs. But, and this is the big one, use going to if your prediction is based on clear present evidence you can see or sense right now.
Right. The black clouds rule. Situation 2, plans and arrangements. Now we're choosing between going to and the present continuous. Going to is great for personal intentions, your internal decisions. The present continuous shines for fixed arrangements, especially with others, schedules, bookings, or if the main verb is actually go.
And situation 3, decisions. This is all about when the decision was made. Use will only for spontaneous decisions made at the moment of speaking. For any decision made before speaking, which is now a plan, use going to or the present continuous.
Perfect summary. And understanding that means avoiding the classic learner trap, just using will for everything. It makes you sound like you're constantly making snap decisions and general guesses, which isn't usually true.
Okay, let's finish the story then. Madame Victoire, cornered, offers 2 final predictions to try and prove she's legit.
Yes, her last attempt. First, she gives him a stock tip about Acme Corp. She tells him to buy shares and finishes with, "We'll buy some. They're going up tomorrow."
Okay, they're going up tomorrow. Why going to, or present continuous, which works similarly here?
Well, she has to use a form, implying certainty based on evidence. To maintain her act, she can't just make it sound like a random guess. They will go up. By saying they're going up, she's implying her prediction comes from some special insight or evidence she's seeing now in her crystal ball, perhaps. It makes it sound more definite, more imminent.
Right, she needs to sound like she knows based on something, even if it's fake evidence.
Exactly. It links it to the present moment of seeing the future.
Then Jay asks about his job interview, and she says something quite dramatic.
She does.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about your job interview. In fact, they're going to call you in 3 seconds to cancel it. Why? They've already hired someone else.
Wow, okay, they're gonna call you. Why go into there?
This is a brilliant example, actually. The cancellation isn't just a random prediction. It's presented as the inevitable result of something that has already happened. They've already hired someone else.
Ah, so the past action, hiring someone, makes the future action, the cancellation call, certain.
Precisely. The decision is made, the course is set. It's basically an arrangement dictated by a past event. So, going to is the perfect fit to show this future event is now unavoidable and fixed because of that prior action.
That makes perfect sense. The future is set in stone by the past decision.
And that really nails the core idea, doesn't it? Choosing the right future form isn't just about grammar. It's about signaling the context, the evidence you have, the planning you've done, the timing of your decision.
Context is everything. You need to ask, is there evidence right now? Was this decision made just now? Is this a fixed arrangement?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's think about that Acme Corp prediction again. Madame Victoire used going to imply it was based on current evidence. Think about real-world forecasting maybe in your job or just things you read about. Business forecasts, weather reports, scientific projections. How often are those predictions framed using going to, suggesting they're based on immediate visible data trends right now? And how often do they use will, signaling a more general, maybe model-based long-term forecast?
That's a really interesting point. The choice of will or going to could subtly signal the forecaster's confidence or the basis of their prediction.
It really can. It's a layer of meaning often missed. So that's something for you, the listener, to maybe think about this week. Notice how future predictions are framed. Are they implying present evidence, going to, or more general certainty, will? Applying that lens can really sharpen your understanding.
So the call to action is pay attention this week. Every time you talk about the future or hear someone else talk about it, ask those context questions. Evidence, spontaneity, arrangement.
Yeah, actively try to choose the form that best reflects the situation. Practice makes perfect, or at least much more natural.
Absolutely. Give it a go and you'll definitely start feeling more confident. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time.